Hello everyone, I Puneet Upadhyay, HOD of Mechanical Department, Jain Polytechnic, Belgavi, dealing with the subject Automobile Engineering. In the previous session, that is in session 1, we have studied the chapter Automobile Engine System. So in that chapter, we have studied what is an automobile, the types of automobile, Indian manufacture of automobiles, the components of automobile, engine, main parts of an engine, dismantling an engine, inspection of engine components. So in this session, it is in session 2, we are going to begin with a new chapter, transmission system. So what will be covered in this chapter? What is mechanical transmission, clutch, main parts of clutch, single plate clutch, diaphragm clutch, gearbox, types of gearbox, torque converter, overdrive, final drive, differential, rear axle, front axle, automatic transmission system, most likely questions for the examination. So before beginning this session, we need to know what is this mechanical transmission. So the mechanical transmission is a transmission that transmits the power developed by the engine of an automobile to the driving wheel, which is known as a transmission system. It is composed of a clutch, the gearbox, the propeller shaft, the universal joint, the rear axle, the wheels and the tires. The vehicles which have front wheel drive in addition include a second set of propeller shaft, universal joint, final drives and differential for the front units. So this is nothing but the mechanical transmission system which is used to transmit the power developed by the engine. So this is the explanation. Next one, the clutch. So now, what is this clutch? In an automobile, a gearbox is required to change the speed and torque of the vehicle. So if you change a gear, when the engine is engaged with a gearbox or when the gear are in running position, then it can cause wear and tear of the gears. To overcome this problem, a device is used between the gearbox and engine. This is known as the clutch. So what is this clutch? The clutch is a mechanical device which engages and disengages power transmission, especially from the driving shaft to the driven shaft. Clutch is the first element of a power train. The main function of the clutch is to engage and disengage the engine to transmission when the driver needs or during the shifting of the gears. So this is nothing but the clutch. Next comes the main parts of the clutch. So this is the diagram which represents the main parts of the clutch. In a clutch, there are three parts which are required to fulfill its functions. So these three parts we can see here. The first one is the flywheel, the pressure plate and the cover. So now we are going to discuss the parts of this clutch. So in this, first one comes the driving member. It is a member which is directly connected to the crankshaft. Okay, the driving member consists of the cover which carries the pressure plate. Okay, the pressure spring and the releasing lever. The entire assembly is bolted on the flywheel and rotates with an engine all the time. The flywheel and the pressure plate grips the driven member between them under the action of the pressure spring. So this is the cover. Okay, so this is the flywheel. So this cover basically fits on this flywheel and there is the pressure plates with the release spring. So this pressure plates grips the driven member between them under the action of the pressure spring. So this is the assembly. Next, the driven member. The driven member consists of the plate which is free to slide lengthwise on the slide lines of the clutch shaft, but which drive the shaft through those slide lines. This plate is known as the friction plates. So this is the friction plates which acts as the driven member. Last comes the operating member. The operating member connects the driver to this whole assembly. It consists of the foot pedal, the linkage, the release lever and the springs necessary to ensure the proper operation of the clutch. So these are the main parts of the clutch. Next, so this is the explanation, that is a driving member, driven member and the operating member. Next is the single plate clutch. So what is a single plate clutch? It is the most important common type of clutch which is used in the motor vehicle. The clutch essentially consists of two members, one mounted down the driving shaft, another on the driven shaft. So basically this is the diagram which shows the single plate clutch. It shows the flywheel, the clutch pedal, the fulcrum pin, the bearing, the clutch shaft, the pressure plate, the clutch plate, the friction lining, the clutch spring and the engine shaft. So these are the main parts of the single plate clutch. Now let's see the working of the single plate clutch. So this clutch will be always in the engaged position. To disengage the clutch, the pedal is pressed. So this is the pedal. So to disengage, this pedal is pressed. Okay. The pressure plate moves back against the force of the spring. So when the clutch pedal is pressed, the pressure plate, so this is the pressure plate which moves back against the force of the spring. Thus the clutch plate becomes free from between the flywheel and the pressure plate. So when the pedal is pressed, the pressure plate moves backward, thus the clutch plate becomes free between the flywheel. So this is the flywheel, between the flywheel and the pressure plate. Okay, thus the flywheel remains rotating as a load as the engine is running and the clutch shaft speed reduces slowly and finally it stops rotating. When the clutch is in engage, the clutch plate is gripped between the flywheel. So this is the clutch plate. So this is the clutch plate. It is gripped between the flywheel and the pressure plate. So pressure plates. So this clutch plate, which is in engaged position, is gripped between the flywheel and the pressure plate. Thus the flywheel remains rotating as the load engine is running. Okay, so since it is having the friction lining on its both surfaces due to the friction between the flywheel, clutch plate and the pressure plate, the clutch revolves with the flywheel. As such, the clutch plate revolves, the clutch also revolves, which is connected to the transmission. Thus the engine power is transmitted from the crankshaft to the clutch shaft. So this is the working of the single plate clutch. So this is the working. Next comes the diaphragm clutch. So this is the figure which represents the diaphragm clutch. So in this we can see the flywheel, the clutch cover, the diaphragm spring. Okay, then next the throwout bearing, the pressure plate and the clutch plate. So basically it consists of the diaphragm on the conical spring. This is the diaphragm spring which produces the pressure on the pressure plate for engaging the clutch. The spring is either tapered, finger type or crown type and is mounted within the pressure plate. Okay. Next, the tapered finger type spring is as shown in the figure. When the clutch is engaged, the spring pivots on the rear pivot ring and is held on the clutch cover. So when the clutch is engaged, so the spring is held in the clutch cover. So this you can see the clutch cover which is held, so that the outer rings contacts the pressure plate. In this conical position of the spring, the clutch plate remains gripped between the flywheel and the pressure. When the clutch pedal is pressed, the throwout the bearing moves towards the flywheel. So this is the throwout bearing. So when it is engaged, so it moves towards the flywheel. So this bearing moves towards the flywheel. So this is the flywheel. So pressing the center position of the spring, which causes the rim to move backward. This removes the pressure of the pressure plate at the clutch is disengaged. This type of clutch has some advantages over the coil spring type clutch. It needs no release lever. The spring itself acts as the series of the lever. So the driver does not have the exert such as the heavy pedal pressure to hold the clutch disengaged, has the coil spring type in which the pressure increases further when the pedal is depressed to disengage the clutch. So this is the diaphragm clutch. So you can notice here the gap between the pressure plates. So this is the pressure plate. Okay, you can notice the small gap you can see between this pressure plate. So this is the example working of the diaphragm clutch. So this is the working which you have discussed now. Next comes the gearbox. So now what is this gearbox? So here high torque is required to start a vehicle from rest, accelerating hill, climbing, pulling load and facing other resistance. But the IC engine operates over a limited effective speed range which produces a comparatively low torque. In such cases, the engine is liable to stall an vehicle which comes to unrest. If the speed falls below the limit, the engine is directly coupled to the driving axle. Thus the engine speed might be very slow. So this gearbox, in order to maintain this engine speed in all the conditions of a load and the vehicle speed, the gearbox is used. Okay. In order to enable the engine to run faster in relation to the road wheels as well as the multiple torque, the gearbox is necessary. So what is this gearbox? The gearbox is used to maintain the engine speed in all the conditions and to control the vehicle speed, okay, and to move the vehicles in any different types of conditions, thus satisfying the customers. So there are different types of the gearbox which are going to studies. First one is the sliding mesh gearbox. So what is the sliding mesh gearbox? So this is the figure which represents the sliding mesh gearbox. So here it derives its name from the fact that meshing of the gear takes place by sliding of a gears on the each sides or the each other. This is the oldest and simplest form of the gearbox. The sliding mesh type gearbox consists of the clutch shaft, okay, the lay shaft, the main shaft or the line shaft, the dog, the clutch, the select rod, the gear change, and the mesh with the corresponding gears on the lay shaft. The 3-speed sliding mesh gearbox is as shown in the figure. So what is why this 3-speed? So this is the first gear, the second gear and the third gear. So that's why it is called the 3-speed sliding mesh gearbox. Okay, from the meshing the pinion with the mating gears on the lay shaft, the pinions are slide along the spline line. When the main shaft is driven from the lay shaft, the gear reduction is provided by the first pair of the gears which always in the mesh. So what is the first gear? We are going to see the first gear. So this is the first gear. So this is the largest gear on the main shaft. Okay, so this is the main shaft. So this is the first gear which is the largest gear, okay, in the main shaft, which is driven by the smaller gears. So this is the smaller gear or pinion on the lay shaft, which corresponding increase in torque. The speed reduction is quite high. This gear are used when the climbing hills and moving of the steep hills. So first gear, so this is the largest gear which are used in the main shaft, which is driven by the idler gear, that is small gear. So basically this type of gears are used during the climbing hills and moving of the steep hills. Now next comes the second gear. So this is the second gear. So in second gear is smaller gear of the spline, okay, spline shaft in mesh with the next larger gear on the lay shaft. This provides a gear reduction smaller to that of the first gear. So this is the second gear which is in line with the, okay, the larger gear. Okay, this provides the gear reduction smaller than to the first gear. Next one, third gear. So this is the third gear. You can see the third gear. So this is the third gear. In third gear, which is also top gear of the gearbox, the main shaft is directly driven by the spline line with help of the dog clutch. So this is the dog clutch. You can see here, this is the dog clutch. Okay, the main shaft revolving at the same speed which is the primary shaft is rotating. So third gear is the topmost gear which is provided with the help of the dog clutch. So this dog clutch is attached to the both sides. So this is the one type of gear is attached to the main gear, and this is the third gear. So because of this, the gear runs at a top speed. So this is nothing but the gliding mesh gear. So this is the working which we have discussed. Next comes the next gear, that is the constant mesh gear box. So this is the constant mesh gear box diagram. In constant mesh gear box, okay, we can see all the gears are all the time in constant mesh. Okay, you can see the reverse gear, the lower gear, the second gear, okay, the clutch gear. Okay, these are in the constant mesh type with corresponding to the gears. It has three shafts, namely the primary shaft, okay, then the main shaft and the lay shaft. So basically it has the three shaft, namely the primary shaft, okay, the main shaft and the lay shaft. The primary shaft carries the clutch in the slide line and carries the gear that meshes with the first gear, okay, and the lay shaft, the main shaft has a number of gears that meshes with the gears of the lay shaft. Okay, however, these gears on bushes or balls or roller bearings are free to move on the main shaft but do not transmit torque in the situation. The larger lay shaft gears is engaged with the primary shaft. Okay, then and the other lay shaft gears are engaged with the main shaft gears. A dog clutch is splined within the main shaft that provides the means of locking the freely rotating main shaft gears to the main shaft of the gear change. Okay, and sliding the dog teeth enables smooth and slide gears change to take the place. The number of engaged are rotating at the same speed. So this is the teeth, okay, which basically is used for the smooth and silent gear changes that takes place. The number of the engaged or rotating of the same speed. So this is the constant mesh gear box. Next comes the synchro mesh gear box. So this is the figure which shows the synchro mesh gear box. So synchro mesh gear box usually synchronizes instead of sliding dog clutch to affect the ratio of the change. So instead of sliding lockage, okay, it synchronizes between the one gear to the other gear. The synchronized gearbox is similar to the constant mesh gearbox, but the synchronized gearbox is provided with the synchronized device by which the two gears to be engaged first brought in the frictional contact which equalizes the speed. Afterwards they are engaged smoothly. So to engage when the gear level is moved from synchronized cone meets with the similar cone on the pinion. Due to the friction of rotating pinion is made to rotate at the same speed as a synchronous unit. To give a positive drive, further movement of a gear level enables the coupling of override. Several spring load balls and coupling engages with the dogs on the side of the pinion. Since the both pinions and the synchronous units are moving at the same speed, disengagement is done with the noise or damage to the dogs. So this is nothing but the synchronous gear box, where you can see each gear are synchronized, okay, with the synchronous devices instead of using the dog leg. So this is the working of the synchronous gear type. Next one is the torque converter. So what is this torque converter? A torque converter is a device which performs a function similar to that of the gearbox, that is to increase the torque while reducing the speed. But whereas the gearbox provides only a small number of fixed ratios, the torque converter provides a continuous variation of ratios from the lower to the highest. Okay, so what is this torque converter? Nothing but a device which performs the function similar to that of the gearbox to increase the torque while reducing the speed. So this is the diagram which shows the torque converter. So here you can see the turbine, the stator, the pump, okay, the turbine output shaft, the flywheel which connects to the engine, the torque converter housing connects from the flywheels, okay, then the pump fixed in the to the housing. The torque converter consists of three principal members. These are the driving member, the driven member, and the stationary member. Okay, in this the stator is mounted on the free wheeling. Okay, so this is the stator, okay, which is mounted on the free wheeling. Okay, one way clutch is to that is it can turn in only one direction. A stator shaft called the reaction shaft extends from the gear transmission in the back of converter to the pump to the support the stator. Okay, and let's see the operations. When the engine is running idle, the impeller produces the slow circulation of oil and is sufficient to move the turbine. So when the engine is in running idle, the impeller produces, okay, the impeller produces a slow circulation of oil and it is not sufficient to move the turbine. Okay, when the impeller spins, the fluid is thrown outward by the centrifugal force produces rotation of the impeller. The higher the impeller rotates, the more will be the centrifugal force. The turbine is situated opposite to the impeller and the fluid flows from the impeller is directed over the blades of the turbine. So the turbine rotates and transmits the energy. The turbine blades are installed in such a way that allows the fluid to flow from inner part of the turbine and impeller, and from there to the cyclone repeats itself. So this is how the torque converter works. So this is the working of the torque converter. Next comes the overdrive. So what is overdrive? Overdrive is a device which is interposed between the transmission and propeller shaft to permit the propeller shaft to turn faster than the transmission shaft, leading to better fuel economy, lower noise and the lower wear. So this is a diagram which represents the overdrive. Okay, so it is mounted in the rear end of the gearbox. Okay, the gear ratio provided overdrive is unit 30% more than that of the direct top gear. The unit consists of the epicyclic gear train. So this is the gear train which consists of epicyclic gear train. Then the planet carrier is connected to the output shaft of the gearbox. Okay, this is the output shaft. Okay, so this is the gearbox output shaft of the gearbox. So this output shaft of the gearbox is connected to the planet gears. Okay, then next, when the sun gear is locked to the output shaft of the gearbox, the planet carrier rotates about the sun gear. So this is the sun gear. So when it is locked between the output shaft, it helps the planet carrier to rotate about the sun gear. Then next, the ring gear rotates more slowly than the planet gear. Okay, so this is the ring gear. So ring gear rotates slowly over the planet gear, thus the giving more ratio to direct drive. Overdrive is used to some sports car and the luxury cars. So this is the overdrive. This is the working which we have discussed. Next comes the final drive. So what is this final drive? Final drive is the last stage of the power transmission from propeller shaft to the rear axle and then to the wheels. It turns the propeller shaft motion at a right angle to the drive the rear axle. So in motion, the vehicle, the final drive has two purposes: to turn the drive to 90 degrees so that torque may be transmitted from propeller shaft to the rear axle to provide a permanent gear reductions. So here you can see the diagram related to the final drive. Here you can see the wheel, the bevel pinion, the crown wheel and the that is the bevel pinion. The final consists of the bevel pinion and the crown wheel. So this is the bevel pinion and the crown wheel. Okay, it meshes with the crown wheel of the differential unit because the pinion has less number of teeth and the crown wheel has more number of the teeth. So this meshes with the crown wheel which has less number of teeth in the crown wheel and turns drive at 90 degrees. Okay, the pinion and the crown wheel may be either straight bevel gears or the spiral bevel gears. The spiral bevel gears are the silent running and stronger than the straight bevel gears because of the greater contact of the teeth. the worm and worm wheel arrangement for the final gear reduction is extremely strong. It gives high reductions without using the large gears. The worm may be mounted above and below the worm wheel. So this is nothing but the final drive. So this is the working which we discussed. Next comes the propeller shaft, that is the driveline shaft or the drive shaft. So this is the propeller shaft. Okay. So here you can see what is the propeller shaft. The propeller shaft is connected between the gearbox and the differential with the universal joint at each end. So this is the universal joint. Okay, so this is called the universal joint. Okay, the torque is transmitted from the gearbox to the differential to the propeller shaft. Okay, and the universal joint. Okay, now let's see the propeller shaft. What is the function of this propeller shaft? The main function of the propeller shaft is to transmit the rotary motion of the gearbox output shaft to the differential and transmit the motion at an angle which is very frequently, and it helps to accommodate changes in the length between gearbox and the rear axle during the vehicle movement. So the propeller shaft has to withstand the torsional stress, hence it is made up of strong steel tube or the solid propeller shaft. So this is working of the propeller shaft. Next comes the universal joint. So this is the diagram which shows the universal joint. So what is this universal joint? Universal joint is used where two shafts connected at an angle to transmit the torque. In transmission system of vehicle, the output shaft of the gearbox, propeller shaft and the differential pinion shaft are not in one line, and hence the connection between them are made by universal joint. Thus the universal joint permits the torque transmission at an angle, and also while the angle is changing constantly while the vehicle is moving on the road. So let's see the construction and working of the universal joint. So here the figure shows the construction of a universal joint. It consists of the driving yoke on one side. So this is connected to the main shaft, okay, of the gearbox, and there is a driven yoke is connected to the propeller shaft. Okay, these two yokes are connected by means of the crossed spider. The forearms of the spider are known as the terminals. So it consists of the driving yoke. So we can consider this as the driving yoke. Okay, on one side it's connected to the main shaft of the gearbox, and the driven yoke. So this is the driven yoke is connected to the propeller shaft. These two yokes are connected by means of the crossed spider. So this is known as the crossed spider. Okay, the four arms of spider is known as the terminal. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the four arms. When the driving shaft is rotating, the driven shaft also rotates. So when the driving shaft is rotating, the driven shaft also rotates. At the same time, the universal joint permits the angular motion, and power is transmission from gearbox to the propeller shaft at an angle. Thus, the universal joint are used to make flexible connections between the two rigid shafts at an angle with each other. They permit the transmission of the power not only at an angle but also while the angle is being varied constantly. So this is nothing but the universal joint. So this is the working of the universal joint. So next comes the differential. Okay, so this is a diagram which shows the differential. So what is the differential mechanism? So differential mechanism is an essential in vehicle while taking turnings. Okay, while taking turns, the differential decreases the speed of the inner wheel and increases the speed of the outer wheels, but the speed of all the wheels remains same while the vehicle is moving at the straight path. So this differential mechanism are basically used while the turning. So let's just see the working. So in this figure, okay, it consists of the bevel pinion, okay, which is fixed to the propeller shaft. Then next the pinion rotates on the crown wheel. Okay, so this is the crown wheel. Okay, and then the crown gear is attached to the cage, so that the cage rotates in the crown gear. So this is the cage. So this crown wheel is attached to the cage. Okay, the cage supports the two planet spinners which is meshed with the two sun gears. So this is the sun gears. Okay, so when a car is running in a straight line, the crown wheel, differential cage, planet pinions, and sun gears all turn as a unit within any relative motion. So here, when it is running a straight line, the crown wheel, the planet pinion, and the sun gear, they all relative with each others. But when the car takes a turns, the planet pinion rotates. Okay, so this is the planet pinion. So the planet pinion rotates on the shaft to permit the outer rear wheel to turn more rapidly than the inner wheel. So when the car rotates, this planet pinion, what it does, so this is direction, you can see it rotates. So when it rotates, it makes the outer wheel to turn, okay, turn more rapidly than the inner wheel. So these directions, okay, it helps the turn more rapidly. So this is nothing but the differential mechanisms. So this is the working of the differential mechanisms. Next comes the rear axle. So what is this rear axle? The power is transmitted from the differential to the driving wheels to the rear axle. In inner wheel drive vehicles, the rear wheels are driving wheels, whereas in the front wheel drive the vehicle, the front wheels are the driving wheels. Almost the rear axles on a modern passenger cars are live axles, that is, they revolve with the wheels. All live axle shaft are split types. Okay, the wheels mounted on such rear will rotate freely on them. A housing completely encloses the rear axles and the differential, protecting from the water, dust and injury, in addition to mounting their inner bearing and providing a container for the lubricants. So there are basically three types of rear axles: semi-floating axle, full floating axle and 3/4 floating axle. Next one is the front axle. So this basically you can see in almost nowadays in the automobiles. The figure shows the differential components of a front axle. The front axle is used to carry the weight of the front part, okay, of the vehicle, and also observe the shock during the road surface variations. It also carries the mechanism for steering the vehicle. It is made up of the I section in the center position, while the ends are made either circular or elliptical. It is usually made from the steel drop forging. Okay, with this concept, it takes bending load due to the load of the vehicles and also the torque due to the braking of the wheels. So this is nothing but the front axles. Okay, basically, okay, it is used for the load carrying members. So this is the working of the front axles. So now at last we come from the automatic transmission systems. So what is this automatic transmission systems? So basically an automatic transmission is also called as an auto self-shifting or AT, a type of a motor where a vehicle transmission that can be automatically change the gear ratios as a vehicle moves freely, the driving from the having the shift gears manually. So in automatic transmission we no need to put the gears manually. So it is the gears have driven with the help of the speed of the vehicles. The gears engages and disengages automatically as the speed of the vehicles. The most popular form of the found in automobiles is the hydraulic automatic transmission. So this system using fluid coupling in place of the friction clutch, and gear changes by hydraulically locking and unlocking a system by planetary gears. So besides this hydraulic and automatic transmission systems, there are other types of transmission such as the continuous variable transmission. There is nothing but the CVT and semi-automatic transmissions. Okay, then the next one is the basically these are used in the different types of the modern vehicles such as then BMW, then Volkswagen Group. Okay, so this is regarding the automatic transmission systems. So last the most likely questions for the examinations. So there are totally 9 questions where students need to be focused for preparation of the examinations. Thank you.